I'm Brian Forbes, and this is Invention. Tonight I'd like to start the show with a question that a blogger wrote on the Invention forum. R. Goldberg86 asks, Brian, I've always been interested in technology. How did you get your start on invention? Well, R. Goldberg86, to answer your question, as a boy I was always fascinated by what made things work. Growing up in Grayshot, Hampshire, my uncle Augie, who was an engineer, would bring over all of his old issues of popular mechanics, and I would spend hours poring over these. And then at night I would lie in bed and wonder, what could I invent that might someday change the world? Funny, even as a child I seemed to understand that we as humans are shaped by the technology of our time. It was while I was attending King Alfred's Polytechnic that a chance meeting with Sir David Attenborough changed my life. He looked me in the eye, placed his hand on my shoulder warmly and said, "Boy, science is the thing in life that makes life worth living, and if you share my enthusiasm, then you must share this with the world." Well, these words, these powerful words, sent me headlong into this, my career in technological journalism. And now, with the power of the internet, we can literally reach billions of people and hopefully illuminate the history of invention and perhaps point the way to a beautiful symbiosis between man and machine. So, Sir Reginald, tell us about your giant electric hairless toupee.
Well, Brian, I think this sort of falls under the umbrella of the happy accident.
Does it? God, what happened?
Well, I fell into one of those, I think they call them bins. And when I came to, I had the beginnings of one of these in my head already. You know, so I went right home and made one.
The electric toupee was conceived in only a few hours. Amazing.
Well, I think the first thing you won't notice about the giant electric hairless toupee is my bald spot. Since this whole thing sort of happened on Thursday, I think it was, I can say with my hand on my heart, if not my head, that no one has commented on my hair.
Well, Sir Reginald, the toupee has been around for quite some time. Why would you make one now that is electric?
Interesting. I really thought you were going to say hairless there. Usually the sort of hairless aspect of the toupee comes up almost immediately, particularly with investors. But yes, this has 20,000 volts of electricity rated at 1400 amps coursing through the toupee aerials, as it were, powering the toupee obviously, and creating a very real sense of danger and embarrassment that keeps your mind off the fact you're going completely bald.
I see, and being a hairless toupee, one would never have to worry about one's hair being messy, even in the wind.
My God, you're right. You'd never need a comb. You've vindicated me, sir.
Yes, I'm here to foster the beautiful relationship between man and machine.
Yes. Well, hair loss is incredibly debilitating to the male ego, a sign of advancing age, the loss of vigor of youth, the negative aesthetic of baldness. Finally, the giant electric hairless toupee makes all this a bunch of nonsense.
Is that so? In what way?
Well, I mean, look at it. You can do almost anything with complete ease. Move silently through crowds like a ninja. Can do social gatherings with confidence. The ladies, I'm sure that'll be a factor for you one day. And swimming and showering.
Swimming and showering?
Oh, yes. Well, you have to do it rather quickly. It does unleash a rather lethal jolt quite a bit. But, you know, your hair loss will be the last thing on your mind, as indeed if you do that, this will probably be the last thing on your mind as well.
So what is the difference between this electric toupee and a hat?
If this were a hat, sir, I would have called it a hat. You don't call a toupee a furry yarmulke.
Well, because a traditional toupee is faux hair designed to camouflage a balding head.
As is this.
Touché.
Toupee.
Indeed. So what has been the public's reaction to your electric toupee?
Well, I think shock at first, you know, depending on your proximity to my body. But I think that any man or woman, if you have tits, would look over at me and say, now there's a man with a head for power. I want to go over and talk to him as soon as someone says it's safe.
Well, certainly this device is not for those who are afraid to stand out in a crowd.
No. And the added benefit, of course, is, well, the ozone created by all this giant electric head electricity closes up the ozone bald patch, ironically, at the North Pole.
Well, that's actually true.
Where Santa lives.
Santa.
Oh, yes.
Feel free to post any comments or email me with questions. I'm afraid that's all we have time for on Invention. I do enjoy answering your questions. Thank you, and good...
Oh, that was the last bee. That was it.
Good night.
Finally got him.
Ah!
I'm gonna need new batteries. I'll show you where you can put them, Brian. D size. The big one. You don't have to take them out. Taking them out's the really nasty part.